Hi, I'm Stephen Howard, the creator of Humany Mindset, and I often get involved in conversations with people who haven't read the book or seen one of our YouTube videos. Kind of says, well, what's in it for me? Why do I need a Humany Mindset? Well, let me answer that question by giving you a little bit of background on Humany and how I created it, and then why you need a Humany Mindset. So, humany is a word I created comprising human, humanity, and harmony. And I define it as the practice of treating all human beings with peacefulness, compassion, kindness, and respect. And when I first created this concept, I applied it only to organizational leaders to emphasize the leading of people, leading of human beings, and the need for leaders to create workplaces of well-being and harmony. And so I wrote a book called Humany Leadership: Mindsets, Behaviors, and Skills for Being a Successful People-Centric Leader. And I defined and detailed this practice for leaders. And the book did very well. A lot of leaders got into it, understood the concept, the philosophy of it, particularly coming out of the COVID period. And the Nonfiction Authors Association awarded the book a gold medal, and it called Humany Leadership a significant work with an important mission. So positive reviews like that spurred me to expand my thinking beyond just the people leadership role, beyond organization, beyond the workplace. And so by combining these three words, human, humanity, and harmony, Humany now reflects our need to build and live lives of connection, well-being, and harmony. Because humany means approaching life with the desire to make the journey of life better for ourselves and for others. And so a humany mindset helps to ensure that all of our personal interactions, or as many as possible, are based on kindness and compassion and peace and respect. And by accepting others for who they truly are. In other words, to kind of reduce the divisiveness that we find in society and that we find in our personal interactions today. So, humany is a holistic approach to physical, mental, and emotional well being that enables people to build and maintain lives of wellness and harmony of their choosing. And if nothing else, that may be why you need a humany mindset, so that you can build and maintain your life based on wellness and harmony that you choose how to go about it. Now, the premise of a humany mindset is really simple. By approaching all decisions in life and all interactions with others from a place of compassion and kindness, peace, and respect, that is the best expression of our agency to create a better world for our children and grandchildren to inherit. What could be more important than that than to leave a better world behind for our children and our grandchildren? How do we change the world? Well, I'm reminded of Nobel Prize winner Malala Yousafzai, who said one book, one pen, one child, and one teacher can change the world. And I would add to that, one person, you, because one act of kindness, one act of compassion at a time is how we change the world. And with every act of respect for one another. In reality, each of us has the agency to create a better world for our children and grandchildren to inherit. But the willingness to use this agency is tied to our respective mindsets. How do we think about this? How do we go about it? Exercising our agency, however, will lead to self-satisfaction, self-actualization, and, I believe, fewer regrets at death. So think about it. Kindness is free, and so is compassion and peace and respect. So let's pass these along daily or many times daily to others, because our world needs more harmony. It needs more kindness and understanding. The world needs less divisiveness, less anger, less separation. So together, we can restore our humanity one interaction at a time. And by changing our worldviews, by realizing and thinking that every other person on this planet is more like us than different, and by thinking that each person's life journey deserves respect, This requires, however, an individual and collective mindset changes. And that's what Humany Mindset's all about. And that's what I'm trying to share with the world. Because inside this magical world of Humany are four potent ingredients: peacefulness, kindness, compassion, and respect. And they're held together by a compound called acceptance and harmony. Now, of course, acceptance does not equate to agreement. You can accept others without agreeing with them or their choices. Just accept that they've made their choice. So this journey of life is one of shared humanity, not divisive humanity. I've been fortunate enough to live most of my life outside the United States, most of my adult life. And I've seen that we have more in common with one another, no matter what part of the world we hail from. We have more in common than differences. And this is something we can each experience at the person-to-person interaction level by each of us, dozens of times a day, hundreds of times a week. I remember reading this quote from William Wordsworth, who wrote it in the 18th century. And he wrote, "The best portion of a good man's life is his little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and love." Well, I've updated Mr. Wordsworth's words, and they're paraphrased in the Humany Mindset Credo that I'm going to share with you in a moment. Because a Humany Mindset brings his thinking into the 21st century. Interacting with others from a place of kindness, compassion, peace, and respect are really the little, nameless, unremembered acts that we each can do. We need more positive examples in society, in our workplaces, of these little, nameless, unremembered acts. And those of the Humany Mindset will be those examples. We should want to live in a better society. We should want to make the world a better place for our grandchildren to inherit. Is that really asking too much of each other? But to create a better world for our children and grandchildren to inherit, we must become better people. We need to become better human beings, humans who exude kindness and compassion and peace with each other, humans who display respect and acceptance for one another, humans who bring harmony into our lives, our communities, our schools, our playgrounds, our workplaces. So that leads me to the Humany Mindset Credo. As I said, I've built upon Mr. Wordsworth's words. And the Humany Mindset Credo reads, "The best portion of a good human being's life is their little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness, compassion, and respect." Or to personalize this for you, the best portion of your life will be your little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness, compassion, and respect. So I hope you'll go forward with that thinking. I hope you'll change your mindset, evolve into a Humany mindset. Or, to paraphrase my favorite philosopher, Yoda, may the force of Humany be with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this YouTube channel on the Humany Mindset and encourage your family and friends to do so as well. Thank you.